Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is going to be another Canadian Soldier Reacts video, and today's video has the potential to make a lot of people butthurt. I have noticed that whenever I compare one RCR and Canadian SSF back in the 80s and 90s when I was in, to other units, either of the day or of today, there's always one or two people that get themselves very butthurt. So I went out to the RCR community that includes both the SSF and the non-SSF components, and I asked about today's video. So we're going to be looking at some guy who attempted the Army Ranger 12-mile ruck test. So I asked about our ruck tests just to make sure I was right in what I was thinking, and I've got the information from the community over on the side here, and it jives with what I remember. So as we're going through and I make the comparisons, I will be referring back to that to make sure that what I'm telling you is correct. So let's take a look at the Army Ranger 12-mile ruck test.
Army Rangers are an elite unit of soldiers trained to take on...
Okay, first things first, I want to look at that ruck. So I don't know if this guy is a ranger or if he's the civilian who's trying to take on the test or not, but there's a whole bunch of things here that I don't like right off the bat. First of all, his ruck's open. That means that the ruck is going to be sitting lower, pulling back more on his shoulders than it should be. And stuff's going to be bouncing in it a lot more. The rucks that we used in the RCR were the basic rucks that were available to the entire Canadian Forces at the time, with the exception of the Canadian Airborne Regiment. The Canadian Airborne Regiment used a very stiff ruck superstructure, and they needed to do that because of the jumping. We didn't jump, at least not out of a plane. We rappelled out of helicopters and mountaineering and that whole thing. But we had what was called a semi-rigid frame, and it distributed the weight from top to bottom, and it distributed it around the sides. We had straps that had a buckle in the center that would hold the straps together, and then we had a belly band that held everything rigidly in place and put the weight mostly on your hips. And that's much, much better for a long ruck march. And then we had quick release straps that we could pop if we needed to go into a section attack, like literally, section attack left, drop the ruck and gone. So he's going to have problems with this ruck right off the bat. The other thing is, so he's got combat boots, look like desert boots on, but he's in PT gear. So when we did our ruck tests, we were in full combat gear. So we had a ruck with 85 pounds in the ruck, and then we had our web gear, which had another 35 pounds in it for a total of 120 pounds. Plus we had our C1s in the beginning, which were about 7 pounds, and then C7s later on, which I think were like 4.5 pounds. So we were carrying approximately 125 pounds for our ruck tests.
Army Rangers are an elite unit of soldiers trained to take on special operations missions. During Army Ranger selection, candidates undergo extreme physical and mental tests, including a 12-mile ruck march with 35 pounds of dry weight in 3 hours or less.
35 pounds of dry weight in 3 hours or less. So 35 pounds, that was our web gear. That was not a ruck test. That was our web gear. We added our ruck on top of that, another 85 pounds, plus our weapons. And so theirs was a 12 mile. So the Canadian ruck test is actually called a 2x10. And it is 10 miles in 2 days. Now, it changed a little bit. When I first got in 87, it was one thing, and then it changed a little bit as the years went on. But the basic ruck test was 10 miles each day of 2 days. So you did a 10-mile march one day, and then 24 hours later, you did another 10-mile march. So we didn't do 12, we did 10 twice.
Today, I'm challenging myself to complete this ruck. Do I have what it takes to pass? Let's find out.
The standard is under 3 hours, but I'm here with Lauren. He says we're gonna get, what, 2 hours, 10 minutes?
That's what you want.
Let me be clear, I've never rucked before. Got combat
Okay,
boots
so
with
he's
a
the
soft
city.
bottom, long socks, shorts, tee. We're gonna be using Element for hydration and electrolyte replenishment. 1,000 milligrams of sodium, 200 milligrams potassium, 60 milligrams magnesium. Kind of nervous, but.
Holy crap, what is this? A commercial for the drink that he's using? So 3 hours for 12 miles. So there were two different standards for us. There was the Army standard, and that was for, again, it changed a little bit, but from what the guys are telling me and what I remember, it's 10 miles in 2 hours, 20 minutes. However, the SSF standard was 10 miles in under 2 hours. So that works out. So 2 hours is 120 minutes. Divided by 10, that's 12 minutes per mile. If I multiply that by 12 miles, so just 2 miles longer than we went, that would be a standard of 2 hours and 40 minutes. And I will tell you that the whole battalion had to come in under that 2 hours, and almost never did somebody fail this test. So 2 hours and 40 minutes for 12 miles it's table stakes for the RCR.
If you're nervous, that means you're doing something right. Let's get it. It's probably a bad time to tell you I'm nursing a torn hamstring.
All right.
Yeah, that's probably a bad time to
But
tell
we'll
him.
be okay.
Yeah, they both got the same rucks on. The guy in the back, he's got a belly band, but it's sitting way high. If he put it around, it would be up on his diaphragm, and that's not good. And then lowering the weight's not good either, because it starts pulling you back, and you kind of want to be leaned forward a little bit. There's actually a way to march in these things where you take a very long stride and you kind of roll your hips. That really lengthens out your pace and speeds up your pace. And once you settle into it, man, you just eat the miles.
All right, let's rock and roll.
Yeah, we would not start out running.
Warren Lynch.
That's actually really bad starting. Well, okay, there's two things going on here. They're on a downhill slope, so I kind of get why they're running, because when you're doing this, if you're on the uphill slopes, you want to be walking. In fact, you even sometimes will use your hands on your knees to help when you're further along. But when you're on a downhill slope, you want to let the gravity carry you. You want to be really loose, and you want to let your front foot just go on its own almost. And you will find that gravity is a significant help in those cases. You can actually rest on the downhill as you're running. But you don't really want to start out that way, because if you start at too fast a pace, you're going to burn yourself, you're going to tire yourself out far too quick, and you are not going to be able to make the pace. I actually did that once. We were doing a 10-kilometer race. It was a Terry Fox run. And at the halfway point, at the 5-kilometer point, so that's 3 miles. So it was 10 kilometers, 6 miles. So at the 3-mile mark, I was third out of like 200 people. And this had 2 SSF battalions. This base that we were on had 2 SSF battalions in it. So I was absolutely flying. By the 10-kilometer mark, I was 85th, because I just burned myself out too early.
I'm a former Ranger at 275. at Tacoma. There's only 3
Oh,
battalions.
Tacoma. I used to live there.
1st, 2nd, and 3rd. I was stationed at 2nd Battalion at Fort Lewis.
So Joint Base Lewis McChord is what it's called now. And I've been to that base many, many times. Got several friends. So I've got a lot of friends. I worked with a lot of Rangers. I got a lot of friends who were Rangers. I don't think I know anybody that's still a Ranger. I am not in any way maligning the Rangers, because every person that I've ever met that's a Ranger has been a very good man, knows exactly what they're doing, and they are good soldiers. I'm just reacting to the video that I see in front of me and the standards, and comparing that to the standards of the RCR, one RCR.
So the ruck is a huge crucial part of what we do in every day, from jumping out of planes, moving, shooting, communicating, and carrying heavy loads. And so today we're going to be doing a 12-mile ruck, and I'll have 55 pounds dry. And this is what we do on a daily basis when we're in training, continuing.
Okay, so 55 pounds is better, still light. So I'm curious as to why it's so light.
From coming back from deployment, when we are deploying, we're constantly doing rucks. It's part of our PT test as well as selection tests.
Yeah, we would do a battalion level ruck march generally once a month, and we would do various other PT during the week, but we would often do a ruck march once a week, once every 2 weeks in the section level. But battalion level, generally once a month, we would have either ruck marches or battalion runs. Battalion runs tended to be 10 kilometers, and the pace was harsh. Like, you're talking 10 kilometers, a good pace would have been 10 kilometers in under 30 minutes. Generally 30 to 35 minutes was what most of the battalion would be coming in at, but that would be in PT kit, not with a ruck.
Our first part, we feel pretty fresh. Hills, we'll just start walking. So once we hit a hill, we're just gonna step it out.
Walk up hills.
Yep, down hills, we're gonna coast.
Yeah, so coast is shorthand for let the gravity take you. And when he says step it out, he's talking about that same thing that I was talking about. Lengthen your pace, and roll your hips and speed up your walking pace. So each pace gets you further along, and you have a faster pace. So it's just starting to eat up the miles.
Yeah, we'll be good.
As I can see, we're getting a great warm-up.
We're getting to the top of the hill, and this is how I talk to myself when I'm in the military. That mental preparation of setting that in your head and telling yourself that gives you that line of when. So once we hit that rock right there, those bunch of cluster of rocks, that's go time.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, so this is important too. This is goals. So once you're into it, once you've warmed up, the first mile or so is kind of like a warm-up. Once you're into it, and especially as you start getting to the later miles, you actually do set goals in your head, because at that point, to be honest, it's probably more mental than it is physical, because your brain is going to be telling you you want to quit, and you have to override that. And what we would do actually a lot of times is whenever you were on a road that had telephone poles or power poles, we would actually do what we would call a walk run or a walk shuffle. And this is going to get me teased by or ridiculed by the Airborne Regiment, but we would call it the Airborne Shuffle, even though we were 1 RCR. And what we would do is we would say the next pole, we're going to start shuffling, and then pole after that, we're going to walk. And then the pole after that, we're going to shuffle. And the pole after that, we're going to walk. And that would be the way that we would increase our pace.
And so that mentality and that mission mindset is something dear to me. And I was asked, hey, do you just want to be on the side? I said, no, I don't want to be on the side. I want to do this with you so that I can be able to show that respect back to my brotherhood. So Rangers lead the way. You want a heel toe, just a light, let the movement of your body push you down.
Yeah, let the movement of your body push you down. That's
So
let the gravity
your feet
take
just
you.
go a little bit limp, and you just let it roll through.
Yep.
And lean forward so that weight can push you forward.
Yep.
I'm gonna be proctoring Austin through this 12-mile ruck. He's kind of nervous. In this process, I'm gonna be taking his mental status, his body stat.
So, I mean, he's a civilian, so I can understand it. I kind of don't like that water bottle where it's sitting. It really, I don't know. I don't like that. It kind of should be hooked better. He looks like he's in really good shape. So I would expect he should be able to do something like this. But I've said this before. There's very specific conditioning necessary in order to do the kinds of things that we had to do. And if you don't have that kind of conditioning, when you start out, it can be very difficult. But as you keep doing it, it gets easier and easier.
Status, and we're going to be pacing it out, making sure we complete the mission. That's the number one key, is looking out for each other. We have a battle buddy in that case, and that's how we're going to execute today. Yeah, dude, this backpack already broke.
Did it really?
Yep.
Backpack broke. Half a mile in and his backpack broke.
Half a mile in.
What's our time?
Yeah, see,
10.
both of them have belly bands and they're not using them. But those rucks, the way that they're sitting, those belly bands are not useful the way those things are set up.
I'm sorry. 7:20. Hamstring hurts a little. The road's busy out here.
7:24 at half a mile. He would need, in order to meet 1 RCR standards, he would need to be doing half a mile in 6 minutes. He would need a 12-minute mile pace in order to meet 1 RCR standards.
Here. Didn't expect that. But we rolling.
We're going to have another hill coming up. Once we hit that sign, we'll coast.
You remember what I was saying about the water bottle in the front? Well, it looks like the other guy, or somebody put it in behind there. That's actually where it needs to be. On the front there is not right. It's not good.
All right. 3.2 miles in.
Oh, he keeps moving
All
it.
right. Chafing. Got a blister. Feels good though.
Unless he's got 2. No, he doesn't have 2 because it's not there now. So he's
Already
just
done.
putting it in and out.
One full bottle. About time to re-up. Not sure how I'm gonna re-up yet, but we'll figure it out. Matt, here you go. Whoops. Oh, you a shaker. Trying to keep these electrolytes in. This is the raspberry salt by
Okay, we're getting another commercial for whatever
Thank you guys for sending these over.
electrolytes he's selling.
I've been using these the night before a big sweat, a run. I've been drinking these religiously for the past 3 days to prepare for this.
Now, don't get me
When we're
wrong.
walking, we stick to
It
about
is
15,
important
15 and a half, but
to
when we run,
hydrate.
it goes down to like 11 to 13 anywhere. And then downhill, I even saw us in the 10s. So we're taking gaps as far as running, conserving energy. We got another 4 of these to
Yeah,
go. So we just
you need
did
to keep
3
a
miles.
constant
We're at 3.5
12-minute
miles to go.
mile.
We got the other half of this 6 mile and then down and back.
Look at this view. Isn't this awesome? All right, let's go.
It is nice. They're
to
not
get
in
it.
Washington. I don't know where they are. He said he was stationed in Tacoma, but that does not look like Washington to me. I lived in the Seattle area, Seattle-Tacoma area for 8 years, and that does not look like it.
Guys, wanna run? You wanna run with us? Come on.
He looks like he's struggling.
We're an hour in. 4.2 miles.
Holy crap.
Breaching halfway, breaching. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little lightheaded, but I can still function. I'm good.
More so that once I'm done, I go back and I go and help my buddies. That's my heart of just encouraging. complete the mission, make sure everybody's coming back home. Different mentality, but love it.
So at the pace that he's at, they're an hour in, 4.2 miles. At the pace that they're running right now, they would barely make the non-SSF infantry standard, the 2-3 RCR standard. They would barely make that. They're not even close to the SSF standard.
I'm having to hold the backpack up so it's not rubbing against my back. The weight strap would pull it to my back.
Yeah, that's not a good ruck.
Well, I've got this backpack so high it goes more like mid-belly.
Yeah. Well, you need
Ideally,
it high.
You want all your weight up high. You set your ruck high, so the weight is pushing you over your toes, and you're using it to your benefit. Right now, the weight's pulling me back.
Yeah.
That's not good. But
Totally agree.
you gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah, so that guy knows what he's talking about. Let me just go back here for a second. So this whole ruck really should be longer, okay? The weight should be sitting up much closer to the top of his shoulders up here, and the frame of the ruck needs to be going down to where this ruck is right now. And the belly band needs to be pulling that in. And that's why Canada has the semi-rigid frames. It's so that they can do that. They lower it down. The regular kit, your kit goes in the top part of the ruck, and that's the biggest part of the weight sitting up over your shoulders. At the bottom is where you put your stuff sack for your valise, for your sleeping gear. So your ground sheet will go in there. Your Black Betty, which is a air mattress. Your 2-part or 4-part sleeping bag will go in there, and that's generally it. And it's really large and bulky, but not terribly heavy. So it helps even out the weight a little bit, but like he just said, the largest part of your weight is up on the shoulders.
That's not good. But you gotta do what you gotta do.
And he's right about that
Pace is
too.
about 11 and a half minutes when we start running. When we walk, it's about 15. Time's looking good.
11 and a half minutes when they start running. So when they're running, they're at RCR pace. When they're walking, they're nowhere close.
Y'all, if you're out and about, you're sweating a lot, super important to maintain those electrolytes, sodiums, potassiums. You can use like a pink Himalayan salt, or
Another
if you want some
commercial
flavor,
for,
use
I'm
something like
guessing
Element.
he's selling this stuff.
Tastes really good, and if you
They must have sponsored this
go through the
video.
link in the bio, you get a free sample pack with any purchase.
The link in the bio, yep, he's selling this stuff.
DRINKLMNT.com/AUSTEN.
The fact that he's got enough breath,
which means we will turn around and come back.
the fact that he's got enough breath to do a commercial while
That's when
he's
we
doing
kick it
this
in
tells
gear.
me he's not working hard
How are you
enough.
feeling?
Felt good. Start running. I start to feel a little lightheaded, but when I
Okay.
get a chance to
Wow.
walk, I'm good.
So let's work on really getting oxygen in, deep breaths
Yep,
through the nose, and then just slow exhale.
out through the mouth.
We're
Yep.
5.4 miles. We have 0.6 of a mile going straight down this road until we turn around and go back. Back the way we came. It's getting hot out here. It's probably 80, 85, something like that. A little
That's
bit
warm.
humid here in Chula Vista, but it's a beautiful day.
Canada in the summer, Ontario in the summer, it could get up to 100 without any difficulty.
Who, me? Nah, that keyword is not in my dictionary.
Long strides now. So let those legs do their work. I want you to exaggerate your step.
Yep.
Walking it out, heel toe. So in this thought process, where your mind at? What type of thoughts are you battling?
One
So
after
this
another.
This is already a problem, right? His mentor is out way in front of him, and I know why he's doing that. He's leading by example, and he's hoping this guy is going to try to keep up with him, and he's trying to encourage him to do that. Like the mentor out there, great ranger mentality. I like it a lot. This guy, I mean, I would really have expected him, because he's doing a video on this whole thing, right? I really would have expected him to push a little harder. If I was on selection here, I'm not 100% sure I would be liking what I'm seeing out of this guy.
Yeah. I said, we're at 4, we're about to make it to 5, then we got one more, then we made it to 6.
Actually, that's not a bad way to
Then
think
I
about
say
it.
do one more after 6. We're almost at 7. Well,
Yep.
we're almost
Goals.
at 6.5. You're just knocking them down one by one.
One more mile.
Do
One
you
more
have any
mile.
doubt? Do you have any of those thoughts creeping in?
Any doubt?
Any doubt or any frustration?
Nah.
Keeping your mind clear?
Yep.
It's a good thing right there.
I try not to think about it. A lot of the time the video guys will tell me to talk about something, and I'm like, I don't want to talk about anything.
Amen.
Yeah, he's
Saw
not
the
wrong
mark.
there,
Let's go, man.
but he needs a
Saw
faster
where I
pace.
start walking.
Like, this guy's got the drive.
Heel toe, let those legs go. Glide.
Yeah, up and back. I
Right.
used to have to do this with
those
my
feet just go.
recruits.
Let's pass that pull, let's pass that pull.
In fact, if
Walk
they
it
started
out.
pissing me off, I wouldn't just do that. I'd actually run circles around them. I'm not kidding.
I'm not even lying.
I mean, you're tired by this
Normally
point.
I wouldn't put that energy in my head that it hurts, but I'm just trying to convey to you guys, if you do try this, please try it with a buddy. Make sure you're staying hydrated, because honestly, I don't remember anything past the 6th mile. I'm just kind of like...
Well, that's not uncommon either, but yeah, so coming in 12 miles in 3 hours, I mean, like I said, we did 10 miles one day and then another 10 miles the next day. But it would not be difficult to keep the same 12-minute mile pace
Almost
up
home,
for
man. Let's
2
get it.
more
One
miles.
Let's get up
Even
there,
this guy
fast,
wouldn't
pull.
have made the RCR standards. As much as I respect what he's doing. And this guy, I would expect that out of a civilian, but this guy looks like he's a fitness guy. I'm assuming this is a fitness channel that he's on. I kind of would have expected better out of him, too. 3 hours, 6 minutes. Like, I mean, that's fail in the RCR. That's fail in the Rangers. Like, if you're going into selection and you're coming out with that,
Thank you for that. I appreciate you.
you're done.
I knew I had to pass. I had to pass.
And another
Came
commercial.
back for you.
They have to be sponsoring this video.
In a selection, there's a point when you both are doing a selection that you have to, no matter what, hit your time hack. If you don't, you're kicked out.
Yep.
So my mentality today, for being an example, I had to hit my time back, then go back for my brother. Brother finished.
Sure.
That's
We did the
biggest
same thing.
is finishing, because in RAS,
Oh, let's hear what he's saying.
you get a chance if you fail to do it again. Now, with that said,
But if you quit,
if you ask to get picked up by the bus or the van,
that's quit.
you're kicked out.
Yeah.
So he survived.
Yeah, if you quit, that shows a willingness to quit, and you're done at that point. So, I'll be honest, I'm a little surprised. I mean, I like this guy. But I'm a little surprised at the standard. 55 pounds is literally half what we were carrying. And they're looking at, what was it, 3 hours? So that's 180 minutes divided by 12 miles. So that's a 15-minute mile pace. A full 3 minutes per mile slower than what our standard pace was. I'm surprised. I really am. The only thing that I can guess is that that's what their minimum standard for selection is, and then when they get to the battalion, standard is higher, because all of the guys that I ever worked with that had a Ranger tab, and several RCR had Ranger tabs too, these guys were all switched on guys that were extremely fit, and we've had Rangers in the battalion doing our PT tests before, and they were able to keep up. So, a lot of respect for the Rangers. Now, like I said, RCR did 10 miles, 2 days. After, again, it changed a few times, but after the second day, normally, we then had a 100-meter fireman's carry where you had to pick up the person beside you. So you're still wearing your 120 pounds of gear. You pick up the person beside you and his 120 pounds of gear. Firemen's carry him, I think it was 100 meters, might have been 200 meters, I can't remember. And then you switch and he carries you back. And then depending on the battalion you were in, there were a bunch of other things that you would have to do at different times. Some of the battalions actually would do a range rundown after that. So actual marksmanship skills. Some of the battalions would actually do obstacle courses after that, and different kinds of things. But in general, the 2x10 was really the big thing, and we did a lot of that. So that's it for this one video, guys. Don't walk away from this thinking that I'm dissing the Rangers. I'm not. Because every Ranger that I've ever met has been good. But the standard that I'm seeing here for a 12-mile ruck test is surprisingly light. If you want to talk about it down in the comments, let me know. I'd be happy to have a respectful conversation with you. If you like the video, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps me out. We're so close to 1,000 subscribers here, guys. Let's get over the threshold. All right. See you on the next one. Bye.